Okay. Okay, good afternoon. I would like to call the meeting of the Beaufort County Board of Education Academics Committee meeting to order. Today is March 22nd, 2023, and our meeting is starting a little late, but we're here. We're at the district office in conference room E, and this is a remote hybrid conferencing meeting. The meeting will be live streamed on the school board's YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/@BeaufortCountySchoolBoard.com. Requests for public comments participation will be accepted between 4 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. by sending an email with your name, phone number, and topic to robin.cushenberry@beaufort.k12.sc.us. You will receive a phone call during public comments where you will be able to speak and address the committee for a maximum of 3 minutes on issues within the committee's domain. The forum will be limited to 15 minutes. Okay, now I need let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Now I need a motion to approve today's agenda.
I move that we approve today's agenda.
Is there a second? A second. Thank you, Mr. Nay. Mr. Nay, I made the motion to approve. Ms. Gordon, second the motion. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Actually, after reviewing today's notes and doing the read ahead.
I got the wrong meeting in. I'm getting ready to upload the new meeting. I see that I unloaded the wrong meeting, so I'm getting ready to redo it.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion?
So let me.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Okay, so it is unanimous because I saw Colonel Geyer's hand a little bit, so the vote is unanimous. Today's agenda has been approved.
Give me a moment.
Okay.
So I need to upload.
Please give us one moment while the meeting is being updated in Board Docs.
I featured it already, Rob, and you just have to click on it.
All right, I just did. And here we go. Approval of the agenda. So we have the right meeting in there now.
Okay, very good. Ms. Cushenberry, do we have any public comments?
No, ma'am.
Okay, there are no public comments. Now I need a motion to approve the January 25th, 2023 committee meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the January 25th, 2023 committee meeting.
Thank
Second.
you. Thank you. Ms. Gordon made the motion to approve the committee meeting minutes. Mr. Nay seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the approval of the January 25th, 2023 committee meeting minutes, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Anyone opposed? None opposed. And it looks like Colonel Geyer is not voting on this one, so.
He's not a member of the-
Oh, that's right. That's
right,
right.
he's not.
That's right. It's just the three of us. I keep on forgetting.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. All right. So our next topic on our agenda is the update on library materials. Well, yes, the library. The library. Yeah, the library. Okay, we're going to talk about the library, and I'm going to turn this over to our darling Dr. Strathern.
Thank you, Mrs. Middleton.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Thank you for our academic committee members for joining this afternoon. I greatly appreciate it. So our first presentation this evening is an update on the opt-out form. Changes and process explanation. If we can go to slide 3 on the presentation. And as that's being pulled up, let me share some of the most updated information is accessibility. Currently, the opt-out form is tied to Administrative Regulation IS 38.1. It is at the end of that administrative regulation. There is a hyperlink in Roman numeral 5 alpha A. When you hit that link, it drops you right down to the form. The process that we are putting in place is that hyperlink will take you now to a district site where all opt-out forms will be rested. So you would have the opt-out for the library form that I'm going to share with you. Let's say there's an opt-out for a survey. We're going to have all that in a repository on a specific link. So as you as a parent are doing your registration, and we do an annual registration, you'll be able to go to those opt-out forms right at your point of registration. It will have its own mother page, if I could say that. This way, we're not changing everything back and forth, but we have a place where we will have a repository for opt-out forms for our families, especially that happening at the point of registration. However, within the administrative regulation 38.1, that hyperlink will also take you there. Okay.
So I have a quick question.
Yes,
So I'm on the website page under families. That's where
It'll open families, it will be an opt-out. It will not be live because Colleen Beckenbarsky is with her family up through tomorrow.
okay.
She will be making that live and it will go live as we start our registration process and not until after April 4th.
Okay.
When this is presented, should it be your purview of the committee to go to the full board.
Okay.
So would it go under that parent portal
Yeah,
section?
you could- That's gonna be something, so
Yeah.
through from families and parents, so they can have that avenue where to go, or from the point of registration, or through the administrative
To
regulation.
make it
Okay.
easy for families to find. So
Okay,
they don't have to
very good.
punch, you
Okay,
know,
very,
or
very
make it
good.
accessible
Yes.
to everyone.
Definitely want to clarify that.
So the current opt-out form, if you look at slide 3, is on the left side. What you have on the right side of this slide actually is a JOT form. And let me explain what that now will do for us as a system. That is going to be an electronic form that parents will fill out. Once a parent identifies, obviously, the student's name, school, it will be then go directly to who that principal is. At the school site, the principal will be able to identify their designee, and they are going to be responsible as well for the librarian. Principal administration must touch. Librarian is to receive the electronic notification as well as print this form and keep them in an area at their checkout desk area. So that as Mary comes out to the desk, yes, it's going to come up and you'll see in Destiny, our Follow Destiny software, but you're going to have a permanent reminder by Alpha. I also want you to recognize that this form, once completed, we are asking for 2 school days, right, for updates to happen. And this form, as our school registration, must be completed annually, right? Because you may have students transitioning from 5th to 6th grade, 8th to 9th grade. So it's an annual completion, just as you were doing your student registration. If you go to slide 4, I'll start on
You
this.
have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's on iPhone, please?
Hey, it's me, it's Ingrid, and I'm waiting till the end, but I'm driving, so I thought I'd at a stop sign and put my hand up.
Okay.
But I'm happy to wait till after the end of the presentation.
Option 1, as presented on slide 4, option 1 states, do not allow my child to check out any materials from school libraries without my approval of the specific material. This notification, okay, will go out to the parent electronically. Again, we're going to have it go through electronically because it leaves a footprint for the school as well as for the parent receipt. There we go. And if you see the next 3 bullets, I'm sharing with you what the Follow Destiny, the patron note, patrons defined as the student, will be used to keep staff aware of the opt-out requests on file. If you look below the 3rd bullet, I'm giving you an example of what that would look like within Destiny. When the student selects an item to check out, it will be placed on hold. Library staff will notify the parent/legal guardian via email of the hold request. The parent legal guardian will have 5 business days to respond. If you see the 2 boxes to the right, is giving you additional narrative information. If the parent legal guardian provides permission to proceed with checkout, the items will be checked out to the student. If the parent does not provide permission, or if the 5 days lapse of local notification, the child is not taking the books out. I just want you to see right underneath, it says same option as in the AR and as in the update. So this really isn't much of a change, with the exception of you seeing as much as I can give you what it kind of looks like within Destiny. Slide 5, option 2. Do not allow my child to check out specific school materials. Again, this is going to go through the same process. The principal will receive notification. Notification goes to the school librarian. They are to also make a hard copy, keep it in what I call a tickler file, that is alpha from A through Z, so we go by last name on the students. And if you see on the right side, it's sharing with you what it will look like within Destiny. One of the benefits of using JotForm, as I showed with you in the first slide, is now a parent could either just have a specific title, or they could have lists. There will be attachments that a parent could upload to that JotForm that the school will receive. I also want to share that one of the big benefits is giving parents that opportunity to be specific as to what they want their child to have access to. Your next slide, slide 6. It's almost self-explanatory. Mary has no permission to take out any books. So that is option 3. Do not allow my child to check out any material from school libraries. The patron note will go in, as you see here in Destiny, and the student will not be permitted to check out any school library materials. Now, this is an opt-out. This does not inhibit the child from the class has gone to the library to talk about terrariums. The class has gone to the library to, hey, we have a speaker today. Those options will still, the opportunities will still exist for students. This is opt-out for material purposes only.
Question
Yes.
about classroom libraries.
Yes, ma'am.
Will the teachers have access to all of this information so they will know not to distribute anything to a
So
child?
that what will happen, excellent question. So what happened next is Mary's mom says Mary cannot have Ray Bradbury, anything of his authorship,
Mhm.
any of his titles. That librarian now is going to communicate to my teachers that Mary cannot. So that process will go through, although the classroom library is that teacher, we're recognizing that that parent is asking Mary's not to have any titles from Ray Bradbury. All right, so we've had that conversation. That is going to be part of the conversation that's also put in the the librarian's manual of how we will operate as a system.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. On slide, yes, sir.
Lift your hands up. Hands up.
Oh, he was first?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on for a second. We'll come back. Go ahead.
So for option 1, is there an opportunity to include a text notification instead of just email?
I believe we do have that capability.
Oh, you mean like with the tone?
Yes, I forgot what the software program is called. Bright Arrow. We probably have, Mr. Day, we probably would have to have the librarian set up as an administrator to send messaging. But that is an item that I could bring forward to communications since they manage that house. It may result in an increase of licensing of administrators. But I could work and get that type of information, sir.
The reason I ask is because I know how often I check my email, and it's sometimes more than 5 days. So I know a lot of people have their phones on them and they're constantly checking text messages, but emails can sometimes get lost in the shuffle, especially when you're receiving, so much spam a day. I just if we can explore that option, I think that'll give even more accessibility to the student or to the parents.
Yeah, and we're talking probably the addition of 32 accounts for administrative purpose. I don't have the fiscal numbers in front of me, but I'm sure it shouldn't be that much of an increase.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Ingrid, are you ready to ask your question?
Yeah, is the, are we at the end of the presentation?
No, not yet.
No.
Yep, I'll wait to the end. Thank you, Ms.
Okay.
Middleton.
All right, Mrs. Smith.
Just to, actually, I'm going in the same direction he's going, in terms of the books as in the 5 days. So basically that book, if the book is dog and cat, that dog cat book is on hold in the library for 5 days until that.
Well, actually, it'll be available for circulation because a parent may not even respond.
Right.
So that material would be still available for circulation, but a hold note in Destiny is going to say, Mary wants to take dog and cat book out. So if that book does get checked out by another student during that window,
Right.
as soon as that book is returned in, Mary will be notified that that book is now available. Mary will then be the next person in line in order to obtain that title.
Okay, thank you for explaining the process. That was pretty much my question, the process of it. And go ahead.
Well, because it lends for the circulation to continue, sir, that's still the objective.
Right, and that's what I'm concerned of. And the text messages is even is good. But I was thinking a phone call, but I guess that's fine because everybody can always take phone calls. So sometimes text will be a better formula and give the parent. That way we have done more than one way of two to try to contact that parent. And so, but the parent does not answer, then that means that child does not get that book, correct?
After 5 days, if we do not receive, the school librarian does not receive a response, that book then, that request to take out just diminishes. And it goes to whomever else wants to take it out, or the title's available to students.
Thank you. Thanks for clarification.
Go on.
Thank you. I'm going to take us back to slide 7, please. So I just want to share some important notes. The opt-out does provide parents and legal guardians with a mechanism to indicate their preferences regarding their child's access to check out school library books and materials. It does provide school staff with a mechanism to be aware of, track, and fulfill their indicated preferences. I want to also share that again, it allows for that personalization of library material for the family. If they choose to put in titles or authors that they don't want their child to have access to. The opt-out does not restrict a student from visiting the library for a lesson, as I shared with you, project or event. Guarantee a student will not pull a book off a shelf and view it. Guarantee a student will not hear about the library material from a classmate and apply to classroom materials outside the school library catalog, with the exception, as I shared with you, it's an opt-out on title. With that communication process has been shared with the team, but that to go from the librarian to the, to the classroom teacher. And just at the bottom, it identifies important notes. I'm open for any questions.
So let's talk about if they want to change, parents want to change their preferences, they have to write a letter to the principal.
They would have to write a letter to the principal,
Mhm,
or at the end of the year,
mhm.
that opt-out itself will be the diminished part. Yes.
So,
Go ahead, Will.
okay. My question is in terms of just to go back to that. I apologize, maybe I missed it. So every year, the parent is given the opportunity to present that, and basically the parent can't, they want to change during the year, is understanding correctly, that then they have to send that letter.
Correct.
But if they don't send the letter, then does it carry over the next years?
No, sir.
Okay, so every year the parent would need to send something.
Every time they register. So when they register at the beginning of the year, when registration starts,
Uh,
they have that option on registration to register. And register all their options, whether they want to opt out.
Right.
And it will last for the entire year unless they send a letter to the principal stating, hey, we want to change the preference. Other than that, at the end of the year, it dissolves and you have to do it all over again.
That's good. And the reason why I just asked, because do we have something that's stating that in black and white? Just said that this is only good for from the date of the beginning of this school year to that.
So it will be within the registration itself. So yes, the registration form is being updated, as well as Mrs. Smith, the availability of that opt-out page, which will have all the opt-out forms. As that will be basically the repository. Access will happen from a hyperlink, in this case from the registration form that parents will annually, or also for this specific cause will actually be within the administrative regulation.
Just want to make sure that we cover on that. That's all.
Oh, yeah, 100%, yes, sir.
And you'll be able to find on, excuse me, for a second, on our Beaufort County website, under families, they're going to have a link so parents can get to that form, but not yet. It's coming in within the next couple of days.
Not until we land there
Yes.
at the full board, yes. ma'am.
Yes.
Does it have the opt-out, if you want to opt out of the survey, that type of opt-out form being included as well?
Can I get Ingrid first and then come back? Ingrid, we're at the end of this presentation. You ready?
Right. Yes, I'm ready. I feel like this is a big wind up for not, but so first of all, Dr. Stratos, thank you to you and your team, because I know that this was a board request. Secondly, as you all probably remember, I was pretty firmly against trying to develop a more complete opt-out form because I think it is a very tricky thing to do. And as someone who does, this sort of thing, I run a software program where I track every order, all these rules for different things. It's very fallible, right? It is not as simple as just turning on and off. So I just want to state for the record, and I'll stay at the board meeting too, I don't think we should have an option 2. I think it should be an all or nothing proposition for library materials. We have a process where we decide as a community what is appropriate for the library and what is not, and that it can be reviewed and voted upon. And if at that point a parent feels like, nope, you know what, I just don't trust the school's decisions, I don't trust the community's decision, I know what's best for my child, then they should opt out of the library process. And I can tell you, I don't think that's going to change the lives of many students. I would love to see the usage, the middle school and high school checkout usage pre-pandemic and now, because I guarantee you as a parent of a 15-year-old, school library is not where kids are getting into badness on these issues, right? What I worry about, in addition to, I think it being a very problematic task, is I worry about the creation of liability. We can say that this doesn't guarantee the kid won't get this material that we have asked to be banned, but there's a lot of pitfalls that I think we really have to think about. Number one, there was a call in during this discussion where a parent said that we would need to update our discipline code, that if another student checked out a book on behalf of and gave it to that student, that there should be discipline for the student checking it out. Number two, it is very difficult to do it by author, because you can have co-authors, you can have all these different things where a parent could say, hey, I said no Ray Bradbury books, and Ray Bradbury, he's not the first author. Maybe he's not the author on the spine, but he is one of the authors. And now you guys have violated the terms of whatever this is. I don't know what the legal restrictions are, but I think we are in an attempt to move beyond this issue. We are making this issue much more permanent and much more complex. So this isn't a question, and I apologize for that, but it's more, I think this is a bad idea. I think the school district is doing it to try and be compliant with the board, and I can appreciate that. But I think we really need to think about, it reminds me a little bit of masking. You can mask or not mask, but what is difficult to do is to say, well, I only want to be around other kids that are also masked. The school district, that creates a lot of problems for the school district. And I think that, to use a healthcare analogy, you never order something, unless you take responsibility for the results when you order something. And I think giving people this more refined opt-out process isn't going to make anyone happy. I don't think the people that are calling for a more refined they want content-based opt out. They want some way for the school to say, hey, your kid is never going to run into foul language or sexual content inside the school library. I think that's what they want, and that doesn't do this. And I think what we're doing is creating a lot of additional problems for down the road. So now we'll get off my soapbox. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments?
I think she.
Yes,
Go ahead, Mr. Campbell.
I I think this is something the board asked for. The administration come back to us with it. You know, we are not going to be able to please everybody about this, no matter what we do. So I would support what the administration came back with. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Ms. Gordon?
Just to piggyback on what Mr. Campbell said, thank you, Madam Chair. We did ask for this, and I am so grateful for all the hard work that you guys did to prepare this. But I'm also amazed because I had no idea that it would be so tight. We can't please everybody. But I think we can please some bodies, and I think the bodies we need to really look at are the children. And if they're picking up these books and their parents don't want them to, now we have a mechanism to somewhat slow that down. Parents have 5 days. And my thing is, on the 7th day, as we all know as educators, if they did not respond on the 7th day, they'll be calling. Oh, I didn't see it, but it was there. And they had that opportunity. So I think we need to give parents the opportunities to make these choices and kids to understand the processes. If there's a book that you should not be looking at per parent, now we have a way to somewhat. We're not going to stop it because kids will get around it. But at least there is something in place, and this team to me did a great job of putting this together. I don't have a problem with it. Instead of how you respond to the parent on the 7th day. We didn't do what he or she was supposed to do. And we know that's gonna happen, but everything else is in place. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Nay?
I agree that we're not going to make everybody happy, but that's not the point. I think our job here in the committee and on the school board is to offend the least amount of people with enough thought and put into this. And I do believe what the staff have come up with is a good step forward. But I'll throw it out there again. What about an opt-in form? If teachers have identified some of these books that they want to use in curriculum, they can opt in, so that if a student wants to enroll in an AP English and these books are being used in AP English, they have to sign, parent or legal guardian has to sign a form saying that they understand that the books are going to be used for class. And that is another option. Just throw that out there. But I do believe that we're getting closer to offending the least amount of people.
Dr. Stratos?
Just 2 points I'd like to bring forward. First, with regard to the public calling on the discipline, if a child passes a book from myself, let's say to Mrs. Dixon, that is not at this point something recognized at the state for disciplinary practice. I have to share that. So that's why it's a little complicated to have a code on a situation that's not defined by the state. That does define what a level 1, 2, and 3 are. Our job is to put the procedural practices in place. The second option, and brought up with the, let's say, an AP literature course. Teachers should be preparing a syllabus in advance of what your child will receive the option of reading. So that notification should be given to parents, and we could push that language a little stronger in courses that are requiring reading. That's an easy recommendation, sir.
So it can be noted, let me add this, and then I'm gonna come to Ingrid and I'm gonna come to you. It can be added on the syllabus if you don't want your child to read. Here are the list of AP books that we are required to read at state level for the AP exam. If you don't want your child to read these, please let me know. We will find an alternative assignment.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Ingrid?
Yeah, thank you. And I understand, and I want to make clear that I think this is an issue the board is creating. I think that the district is doing a good job of doing what the board has asked them to do, and I think they're doing what they can. So I want to be clear that I am not speaking to Dr. Stratos. I'm speaking to other board members to think about the fact that there are people out there who are going to be testing this system aggressively, and they are going to be trying to come up with ways to create liability, et cetera, et cetera. So what I'll say is I understand Mr. Nay's point that this offends the least amount of people. I'm not sure that's true. I don't know how that's going to play out, because I am fairly confident that what people are asking for is a content base. They don't, in fact, very specifically, it was brought up by other board members that parents cannot possibly know all the books in the library that might have this kind of content in it. So in this particular instance, they relied upon an external rating source, that BookLooks rating source, and then went through and found of all the books on that list, which ones are in the Beaufort County Library. We're going to be adding new books. So, you know, there's going to be all sorts of problems with that. So this is me talking directly to other board members. As a parent in the school district, I don't think this is going to achieve any of the goals that we would like it to achieve. And I think it will create additional problems, and it may or may not create liability, but it's going to create a lot. It's a very operationally challenging thing to do. It's not as easy as just getting a list and entering it into a library code. That I can tell you, someone who deals with complex software interactions, it's never that simple. So my only comment is, you know, I won't support option 2. I think it's an all or nothing proposition. You guys are free to disagree with me on that, but I wanted to get that out there and say that we as a board need to think about, because one of our responsibilities in the community is to keep the district free from any kind of legal liability sorts of entanglements. And this is something that boards traditionally have not weighed in on, library materials. Again, it's separate from instructional materials. Now we're getting involved, we're weighing in, and I do feel like we're creating some potential legal issues down the road. Maybe not right now, but down the road. And I'm now seriously all the way done. Thank you.
Well, go ahead, Mr.
Well, let me respond to you, Mrs. Boatright. Just to respond to what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but my concerns are too is that we have to be careful on how we limit to in terms of. It's just like putting kids out of school. You just can't put them out of school. You have to offer them some type of alternative, because you can't deny a kid educate the educational process. So, if that book is a part of their rubric or a part of their syllabus and a part of the educational process, then what will be the route and what that look like, and what will be the alternative if not the parent is not given that option. So I think it's a little more. There's different when you peel it back. There's different layers to that onion than what you're talking about. I do hear what you're saying, but I just think it's a little more depth in terms of the legal ramification to the board is my concerns.
And I hear you. I just want to make sure that it's a distinction between, I'm not talking about instructional materials. I'm talking about just library. So opt-outs for instructional materials, totally different thing, or alternative assignments.
I see it all kind of lining with each other. I understand what you're saying, but I just think that in terms of it, I'm more concerned about in terms of litigation, in terms of are we violating kids' rights in terms of the law and denying them their educational rights or not? That's where my more compass is driving me right now. Thank you.
I'm Wendy. Ms. Hartledge, I'm sorry.
Wendy's fine. Board members, I do, Dr. Strauss, I just wanted to mention that after we had everything in order, we've also reviewed it with one of the outside attorneys, Mr. Williams, who's dealt with these issues with other school districts to make sure that we had, you know, we were legally compliant, that we were proper. So we had no objection to it.
Any more comments on this piece? All right, let's move on to choice book.
Thank you. So if you go to slide 8, board members and guests, this is, and I'll hold it up. And if you don't have this, I've asked Molly to send you the district link, because the way I've designed the presentation, I will cite a reference page within the book. This is the most updated choice book was hot off the press just about a week and a half ago at that. I wanted to bring it to academic committee. It has circulated throughout the district. It has been to numerous events here in the district in the past week. And I'm just sharing that this is our marketing book. So if you move into a neighborhood, we're giving it to realtors or Rotary Club. You should know what your schools in your neighborhood have. So we did a design to not only for choice, but as a reference for you within your appropriate area. So we go to slide 8. This is reference from page 5 in the book. And what it is giving you the important dates to note, the application process, the dates with regard to when the decisions for choice, as well as for the appeals. If you go in your book now to page 7, and that would be slide 10. And you're going to see that this is designed rather succinctly, the same template. So page 7 shares with you what choice programs are at the elementary schools. And I want to make note, each school with regard to a prior administrative regulation may only find 2 choice programs for application. It does not mean that your neighborhood school still does not have other programs within your school. That was a system that was put in place prior to this administration. We have continued at that path. So that's why you don't say, hey, but I know the school also has this. Yes, the answer to that, they still do have it. But these are the programs that they accept application for, should that school be at a capacity level for outside students to attend. And then within the school, so if you live within the zone, we recognize these are the highlighted choice programs. If you go to page 9, you'll see this is an example of a narrative. We've tried to define, again, giving you a story of the school. Slide 12 on the presentation basically gives a description of the programs that you saw on the chart. That would be on page 16 in your book. I do want to highlight on page 12, the Acceleration Elementary Academy at Bluffton L. For next year, for a feeder pattern, Bluffton Middle is seeking to submit an application. So their school is open for seats. They're not at full capacity. So we are working with the principal at that school to have a choice program, but a feeder pattern into his school to go with Bluffton L. Although the school across the street of Franklin, they're almost at capacity. So we were able to find a principal who would say yes. Page 16 continues with the description of programs. I'm sorry, in your book, it is slide 13. And you'll see it continues on to slide 14, referenced in your book on page 17. And that continues through slide 15, so it's giving you a description. On slide 16, this is where I took things just a little bit out of order from your book. It's going to reference page 32. And the reason I put this here was for us to recognize that career technical education actually really starts at our middle schools. Although we have Project Launch, which is a problem-based learning for science at our elementary. Right now, we have about 9 schools utilizing Project Launch, which is PLTW, Project Lead the Way. You'll hear that language more and more. That's at the elementary, that is separately funded. It is not funded through career technical education. It is funded through 2 sources, my division, as well as the MSAP grant MedTech. On slide 17, these are choice programs at our middle schools. That references page 21 in your book. And I will pause, you can see that we started to put virtual learning as an availability. This is something new this year. And you may have seen it on WTOC. I know there was an article that was pushed out today on the Island Packet. We are pushing forward to be competitive in that market. On slide 18, it gives a highlight of Hilton Head Middle School. That would be page 23 of your book. And on slide 19, it starts with the descriptions. And those descriptions start respectively in your book at page 25.
So every middle school has a choice.
Yes, they should,
Program?
sir. Yes, sir. So, but if you would like to go back to look at slide, and I'll go backwards, Mr. Smith, to slide 17.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yes.
I noticed that.
Yes, sir. Okay. So going forward, I'm gonna have us go to slide 21, please, which is in your book at page 27. This is where complexity happens, high school. Only because you see more. That's all, right? More opportunities, more programs, not that we have more schools, but we break it down a little here. We use two different colors so you could see what's available if you live within the school, right? If you're outside and if you're outside of the school zone.
27.
Oops.
On the slide, it'd be slide 21.
Okay, that's what they.
Yes, sir.
No, it's.
Yeah. So if we go to, you'll see the same iteration. On slide 22 is a description of what Bluffton High School. Now, we do recognize Bluffton High School has a strong arts program. I do want to share that May River for the upcoming school year has submitted a proposal for consideration for a choice program for applying and performing arts as well. I also want to share that Broad River Elementary that I highlighted earlier in this presentation for their narrative will be submitting an application as a leader in Me School for the upcoming school year.
What school is that?
Broad River Elementary,
You said May River?
May River. And that would go through our review first, these applications, and then should they meet the requirements of those applications, I will bring them forward to you here at the academic committee. Obviously,
Quick question, if I could, see this chart here on page 21. And I love it. My question is in terms of the amount of credits that a student is needed. Is that I don't find that anywhere on here. That's not, that doesn't have anything to do with it.
no, it doesn't have anything.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, the credit for completers,
Right.
no, that would be come out more in our course guide that we would
Right.
call it, published for the upcoming school year. A good question.
Yeah, I don't know why I would just love for that to be,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Okay.
that.
Point taken.
Yes,
Take it.
ma'am.
I could look into adding. We know people.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, all right. So again, if you see it on slide 23 in your book referring to page 30, it gives you descriptions and obviously the schools that house these programs. And that would take you through a continuum. The last slide in this part segment of the presentation is on slide 26, and it's just a hyperlink, gives you Beaufort County Schools, .net. This information is at families and school choice programs. Any questions?
And all this information is found on the main page under the banks.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And if you go in and do a search,
Awesome. Okay, sorry, guys. Ms. Gordon? You ready to cover? Oh, okay.
Yes, we were talking, I believe in general session last time, Mr. Campbell brought up about the African American studies. My question is, and I know it's at Well Branch High School.
Well, Branch High School is what high school that does have African American studies, 2 sections on the master schedule, Will Branch Early College.
So is that something that should be in here?
Well, it's not a program. It's not a program. However, there's a principal in our neighborhood of Beaufort County School District who is interested in working with possibly a group in the community. And it's at it's at the infant state right now. I just had them meet with Avid. Avid leadership would be part of the choice program within the school. I do need to bring other people at the table. I don't want to put too much the cart ahead of the horse yet, but we are in conversation for something else where you're driving the conversation to, Mrs. Gordon. And the principal has already said yes. I just have to get a few more people to the table to look.
And my second question on that would be, will Wild Branch High School or college be at that table?
For that, no, because of the proximity of what I'm hoping to develop, it would be so close. Looking at the matters, I can have to sit with to take the tea. To see that we could, because Prince was at Beaufort Middle, her mother actually attended school. So in order to work with some of our sites in history localized, Mrs. Thompson, D.D. Thompson is very much interested. I have to get other people on the table who are represented at the African American Conference to work with an interest point of the school. It's an academic scholars.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But
I hear you as well.
Okay.
I know where you're going, but they're also a MedTech 7 school.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, they are. So we do have them as a MedTech 7 school. And I understand where you're driving. I can have that conversation with Ms. Cole.
Please,
Yes,
I'm just saying,
Yes, ma'am.
because I know this is where it is.
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
would really be disappointed if they're not.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's not a conversation. Because they're doing. And I understand this times, I understand others. Respect for others, but also respect. What we're doing.
Mr. Nay, go ahead.
Sorry for the freshman question here, but why are some of the programs only available to schools within the students within the attendance zone?
Because of capacity, sir. It would be capacity, that's why, sir. So for example, and let me go to the elementary, so give me a moment to go backwards and at my presentation. If I can go to slide 10, which would be page 7 in your book, which is the elementary graph. If I look at Okatee, they are a leader school in me school, but they are closed to outside of their community because of capacity. So an application to that school for a student who is not within their attendance zone would not be accepted.
Okay, I understand that. And then the other is the dual language schools. How are those languages decided?
So that was actually decided under a prior administration. And the one item was actually tied to a significant grant that the school system had, which was the Hung grant for Chinese. And that is what started this Chinese dual language for our district. And then my understanding is recognizing the need to develop more Spanish speakers because of the population growth in Beaufort County. That's where the Spanish dual language came forward, sir.
Okay, so when did we get the grant for the Chinese dual language?
They renewed it. Yeah, Valerie Tuesday, it was renewed, I want to say twice.
It was Valerie and then under Dr. Moss. What it is, and then the second.
It was
And
renewed twice.
where is that grant coming from?
I don't have the source of that answer because at this point we are at the sunset of that grant. But as a system, the commitment was made for this as a dual language program. I could get that information now, Mr. Nay.
Thank you. I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You want the original source for the Hong grant, correct?
Yes, the original source for the grant and who's funding it, please.
Mr. Smith? Oh, are you finished, Mr. Nay? Mr. Smith?
My questions are along Mr. Nay's question, but a little twist on it. In terms of these programs, are we tracking because on the other side of the broad, we're getting a little heavy with terms of students, and we have a lot of students that are, how are we tracking them in terms of what school they're going to in terms of out of district areas?
Are we track?
Because we have a lot of, I'm learning, I thought it was just a lot of kids from Hardyville, but heck, we got a lot of kids that are going from us that are to be or telling me that coming from as far as Savannah. So my question is, how are we checking it in terms of which school are they going to from maybe elementary school to high school? How is that working and what does that look like?
So we're able to track student populations due to demographics to the
Right.
school
Right.
by zip codes.
Right.
And then that correlates to the student attendance through Power School. We have that capability. At the point of registration, students have to give, the families must provide appropriate proof to register into our system.
Right.
If that proof is not provided, that family may not register. So the students from out of Beaufort County, that would be another discussion at another time. And if you know what families, I would ask if we could have that communication. Because there are times when there's an exception. There are times when there are hardship. I could share that. That things have been approved through special circumstances that
Right.
goes through student services.
Right.
So if there's specific questions like that. Those are few and far few, yes, or employee courtesy, because it's a hardship for that employee. So those are some who may not be within. And that actually goes through student services, but we're able to track all choice program applications, all students by their zip code and families to the schools. We have that capability and are able to identify special circumstances, and we monitor all that very closely all the time.
Right, well, I'm just putting it out there just
Yeah.
because I'm really getting concerned about the other side, the other side of the broad, because they're growing, but when you look at the census numbers, you look at some other data, it's way in balance, it's way left and then there's not enough, and that's just concerning. Like I said, I have been, looking at that in terms of where we're going at in this district. So that's just FYI. So when I say that's not he just dropped the bomb. That is something that I am, as a board member, going to put it out there.
Any additional questions? Thank you, Dr. Stratos. We can move on now to the academic school year 2023-2024 calendar item.
And this could be slide 28. So the ninth calendar was brought forward. I have to share with the board. I know Dr. Rodriguez caught it. My book somehow was stapled closed. So yes, it was. That's a whole other discussion at another time. After the meeting was brought forward to Tanya and myself, recognized that when we transcribed the calendar, option A from Excel to Publisher, the cut and paste was not correct for the month of June. So I want to bring forward the correction to academic committee. You have this in color on your presentation. So I will. Let's do this one. All right. The prior recommendation was that school ended on June 3rd. It's not an option. We will not meet the requirements. And it was due to the cut and paste, and I can share that. But I'm bringing forward is that correction, and I want to bring forward the graduation dates to the board. If you look at slide 29, it will give you the key to the dates that are to the codes used on slide 28. It also identifies to you the recommended graduation dates, times, and schools. But I want us to make note that I do not have the right to go forward with that June 4th graduation date. without a motion from the board, because that is your board meeting date. So I cannot go public with this without you. Yes.
So the board approved, when they approved their calendar, June 4th was not, they were approving it based on the other dates.
So I'm still good.
So you're still good. So because for June, we have it the 2nd and the 4th. So when the board approved their calendar, those were that we put in for the
Thank
board
you.
meeting,
Thank you.
because you had a graduation
Yes,
already.
I
on there.
did. I had
So-
on the old dates, I did.
Yes, so the board had already approved to have the 2nd and the 4th Tuesday in the month of June. So you're fine.
Just a few more, Jen.
But there's a smile. But I do want to bring code. That is the only change on this calendar. I have to bring it to your attention that the closing of the academic school year for students is June 5th. Well, it's a half day. It is a half day. Okay.
What days are you on campus?
June 5th. And it's also graduated. Yes,
So the June 2nd, that was on the other calendar.
that is the one that will be removed.
That is being removed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
I need to read.
Yes,
the
that is
calendar.
being removed. Yes,
Gotcha.
ma'am.
So we need to bring this forward to the full board.
Well, because of the corrections, I feel it should be brought to the full.
So we're looking at the 2nd and 4th Tuesday as our board meeting?
Yeah, the 2nd and the 4th Tuesday was already approved by the board, for their board meeting.
So they have shifted, I greatly appreciate that, board members. So I did want to bring this to your attention. I take full ownership of the incorrect information that was brought forward.
Okay, Dr. Strauss, you get one.
It's not, it's,
This is not a problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
I didn't, when this was identified, it did not go public. I held this being published. I do want to share that as well.
So the board has to approve this calendar though.
Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha.
Yes, they do. I would have to bring forward a motion.
Gotcha.
Sharing that there's a correction to the calendar. And that is the only change.
Ms. Christian Barry, when do we meet again? It's April, right? The full
Which-
board?
For the full board, April 4th is the next board meeting.
So that is when we will.
Yes. Correct.
Let's go back, let's walk back a few steps. For the opt-in or opt-out form, that needs to be presented to the board April 4th as well, correct? Okay.
Yes, and if I could share with committee members also what will be going out that evening, to the full board with the school renewal plans.
Okay.
They have to be brought to the board on April 4th. If while you're reviewing to set up your agenda, please take that under consideration. Because they are due to the state at the end of the month. And as we have done in the past, you will receive an executive summary, all right, with your ESRP.
That's April 4th.
Go ahead, Will.
Do you want this year's graduation dates as a reminder or not? You all have it. You all have it?
No. I mean, I have
Because
it
we
now
did
with
take-
this because you changed.
Right, so they did change because of Battery Creek. Would you
Yes.
like a light reminder? I brought that as an FYI.
Yes,
June 2nd would start our first graduation,
June 2nd.
and that would be Battery Creek. That is a half day.
That's a Friday?
That would be on a Friday.
And that's at 7 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is, so we do have
This is
that.
the 2023, yes. I just
Okay,
wanted
so that is
For
correct.
the edification, they have all that, and
Yes,
that's it.
so we did put those out.
It is on their calendar. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
So,
So what we're looking at now is 2024.
so 2024. We have not done the
Yes.
2024
Right, that would be-
calendar yet.
Yes, ma'am, that would be this.
Okay.
So the June 4th would work, correct?
So so when the board looks at the 2024 calendar in November, we will just go ahead and
Make the adjustment.
and make the adjustment, and they can approve it when they approve their 2024 calendar.
As long as that
Yes,
consideration.
that's how we do it. So
Yes,
when,
ma'am.
when graduations come across, we just shift.
Okay.
And the board will approve their calendar.
Beautiful. Because the legislation says I can't.
Yes.
Just, I was just going back to what you said, what you said now, you said that they were gonna bring the last sentence you just said to Mrs.
The opt-out library for the April 4th meeting?
Right,
Okay, so school renewal plan is
right.
gonna.
Well, should that be from when you do your agenda setting? I don't
Yes, oh, you want the agenda set.
That's
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Agenda setting. Yeah,
Yes.
I recommend that.
So you, yes.
Now we're talking about agenda setting.
Yes.
No, right, right, no, but right, but also,
That is what he's referring to.
Okay.
Under this committee.
Oh, out of this committee, the opt-out.
right, and then also Mr. Navy, he bought something up at the, I think it was at the end, or someone bought something, it was another one, as an opt-in, in terms of,
The books for AP courses.
right, yes, ma'am.
She made a note that can be added to the syllabus. So
Okay,
the
right.
teacher, because the teacher's gonna send out a
Right.
syllabus with a list of all of the books, that is on the teacher side, the classroom side.
Right, yeah, right, and I agree with that, but I was just wondering.
It's nothing that we have to
Comes
vote
before the
on.
board.
Yeah, it's nothing that will come, to us.
Right, I was thinking, right now, when I was thinking about, I was just saying, in terms of. A food for thought, I was just wondering, when you said that you were gonna address that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, that's it,
Yes.
that's it.
And most schools have that option already. I
Right.
don't care with that respect.
Because actually, you said exactly what I was gonna say, but I just figuring out if that come at the board meeting, then we can already address it, but
Yes,
it'd just be the same thing, repeat, so.
right.
Thank you, Robin.
Okay. Dr. Stratos, is there anything else you want to add to the calendar?
No, ma'am, not at this time.
Okay, so
Committee
committee,
vacation.
Oh, maybe.
No.
committee members, discussion of future topics. Does anybody have a future topic that they would like to discuss? Nothing from Mr. May. I see his head shaking it no. Mr. Campbell, you got anything? For future topics for academics?
No, I don't. Thank you.
We have to discuss date.
Oh,
Our
our
next meeting.
the date of our next meeting. That would be wonderful.
So technically, this. This group meets the fourth Wednesday. But the fourth Wednesday in April is the Bluffton High Budget Forum. So we would need to move our date. I am suggesting that we move it to the 20th, because on the 18th, you all are traveling to Columbia for the TUDAC. The 19th is you're in Columbia, as well as the Senior Scholar Banquet.
And then that is very.
And so on the 20th of April is really the only, okay, so that one we'll keep it. So moving on to the month of May.
Not for me, but for the other committee members.
April 20th. Mr. Nay, can you attend April? That's a lot though.
That week.
So,
The whole week.
well, because the 17th is technology, the 19th is Columbia and Senior Scholar Banquet. 20th is nothing, and the 21st is the board work session.
What is the
It's a
22nd?
board work session.
There's a work session on the 21st. So on the 27th is the Beaver High Budget Forum.
Right now, the 20th is good for me. I'm actively trying to sever my active duty ties with the Marine Corps, and I might have another job by then. But right now, the 20th is good.
Right now, we are recruiting, sir.
The 20th works for me.
Okay. Well, I'll be done. I have another.
So
She's
Dr.
19.
19.
So the 20th works for me.
So, all right, so the 20th at what time?
Same time or
Five.
5?
Just 5 o'clock or 5:30?
5:30, Mr. Nay.
I don't have any obligations earlier that day, so if it's better for Dr. Stratos's team, I can go earlier.
Okay, 4:30.
4:30 or 5?
Thank you.
Which one?
Which one?
Is it 20?
4:30, okay.
4:30.
So
But we don't have agenda. Sorry.
so if we don't have anything, then we won't have anything.
Let's see. I'm on.
4:30. So the next meeting we have scheduled for the 20th at 4:30.
And we'll work if there be agenda items that come up.
Okay.
In terms of the menu as a topic, I'm trying to digest technology menu. What does that look like? Maybe that's something that
That would be under the technology committee, so that would be with Ms. Boatright and the technology group.
We have to ask.
Not that, not academic.
But I may have student services present that day. I believe there were a few items.
There was like,
there were two items.
Yes,
Student
one
service
is-
and-
Yes. So I will reach out to Dr. White,
Okay.
Harry, and share that with her.
So future topics,
This will be-
discipline.
I believe it would be discipline, because if you wanted a presentation to the board,
Mhm.
It was
So-
discipline and right choices.
yes, for the two items.
And actually, on March 31st, we're having our first code of conduct discipline meeting, going to be making revisions and updates.
So I'm gonna
So
put
Dr. White,
that,
yeah,
where, here,
our staff is. meeting.
Oh, the staff.
Student service staff.
so
Mhm.
why is coming up under you on that? So she's split between you, and Mrs. Walton.
well, because there was a motion made in operations that items for student services were to come through academic committee. So that means anything with regard, it was done prior to your joining the administration, was my understanding. So student services will come through academic committee for the discipline to present. And then the academic committee would be up to you to determine if that presentation goes forward to.
But as far, but you're getting confused under
Because
the org chart. The org chart
Mhm.
is different than what it's reported to us. Because the board did not want to form any additional committees. So therefore, instead of forming additional committees, they took human resources and student services and split them between the other existing committees that we have. So that's why it comes like that. So that's separate from the org chart. Yeah, thank you.
Any more questions, additional information, future topics? No? Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded,
Yeah.
Mr.
Second.
Mason. All
Thank
right,
Thank
we're
you.
adjourned. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate everybody's time. Have a good day.
Yes, you too.